If you were a
completely
witch,
different.
actually, that would be preferable because we could use a witch right now.
Perhaps you could help us figure out
because,
what's going
because
on.
our lives are in danger. I was
Yes.
poisoned.
And you said you were attacked as well?
Yes, a man with a dagger showed up at where I was hiding.
Yes, in my vision, your face was fuzzy, and so was that other man. You were friends with him, I believe.
Oh, do you
close to him.
mean Chester?
Chester?
Yes,
What?
I'm remembering
You
now.
had the
all the
vision?
vision that
Tell-
I
wait,
had.
tell me-
Chester's face was very blurry as well.
A vision. What was the vision of?
It was all of you standing in a room and a couple of more people, and your faces were blurry.
What room?
Oh, it was in the room where the lady had passed, and the fire was lit.
The
and you were
sitting
all
room of the
lounging.
Dowager Countess.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it was all very sudden. It shook me up quite a bit.
Well,
Do I remember because of the order of when people entered the room?
Speaking of
do
Chester,
I remember
you were
if she was
gathering
in
all of us.
and out before all the
Where
people who were
is
in
he?
were in?
No, she was in later and then left before.
Okay,
so she was in there with everyone.
So she would have remembered
She would
the,
have
the
remembered.
people who ultimately were the people.
Right.
In the room.
So
Okay.
you had all come upon the body
I was
first.
Thinking, I was thinking to myself, if she
I
was
came
in,
up
but then she
after.
left, and it's like, oh, how the fuck does she know all the people in the room?
Right, no,
if she didn't know, okay.
You
Then
guys
I-
She came
upon
in,
the
and then the
body
cops
first.
were like, "Oh, you shouldn't see a lady. Shouldn't see any
yeah,
of
they
this.
shoot
It's
her
terrible."
out so that she wouldn't
Yeah.
faint that away at the sight of the horrible.
So you said you were gathering everyone. Then where's Chester?
Well, earlier this afternoon, I contacted him and I told him that I was afraid that he was in danger because Tristan had been killed.
Yes, I
Have
did
you
hear
heard
the
of it?
news
You've heard
in
of
the
it?
paper.
So, shortly thereafter, though, something horrible happened at his place, and he was taken away in an ambulance. He looked very traumatized.
And they wouldn't even call an ambulance for the poor lady who fell.
No.
So I called upon him at the hospital later, and he had been put to sleep by the doctors. They had given him medication to rest.
Sedative, yes, of course.
But after I was attacked, I made my way to him to see that he was all right, and he was on the verge of death,
Virgin.
and he is even now trapped in a coma, from which he may well never wake.
Lady Azel,
And this like so did I know? I didn't know that. What was the other guy's name? The big
Tristan?
guy? Tristan was dead. Did I?
No. So
No.
that was the first you heard of it.
Yes.
Which now explains your
Why
vision
he
where
didn't
Tristan's
have a face.
face was
Yes,
gone.
his throat was slit in an alley, and blood had somehow flowed down and up, as if he was both standing when killed and then suspended upside down.
That would explain why he didn't have a face in my vision.
Doesn't seem
But it was very
physically
strange.
possible.
how easily can
Mechanically-
you have these visions?
Blood both
Oh,
up
they
and
do not
down.
come often. I have feelings, and I can sometimes go into the spiritual world and do the visions, and I can definitely communicate through the stones and the board and the.
Well,
Lady
have,
Azel,
as far as
you,
actual
have you
visions.
attempted to make contact with the Countess? Who you were
Yes,
friends
that is
with?
what we were doing at the
Ah.
time.
Mademoiselle, let me cut to the chase. I suggest that we all go to Madame Philomena's place where the events of the party occurred.
I think that is a great idea. We should have a séance there. We should bring-
Yes.
I think.
Well, perhaps
my
that would be the
first
best
board
place to
broke.
At this
contact
moment,
we
I
may
believe
have to get a second
that's
board.
the best idea I've heard all
We will
evening.
have to pick up a new board.
We must
My other
definitely
board
we must
broke.
definitely stick together, though.
Now, let me prepare you. We are traveling with Father Gregory,
Oh, wonderful.
but
Look, he is certainly equipped to deal
But-
with all manner of things.
if you have convinced me that you are not to
It's a
witch,
very
I can convince
long-
him that you are not to witch.
I'm not comfortable with him. He had told me some very obscene things earlier.
Look, we will prevent him from doing any sort of harm to you.
I will protect you from him at all costs.
He was asking me things that have very bad connotations to them. I am not sure I've got.
Really?
Yes.
What was he saying?
He was. Oh my god! It's so scandalous. I can't even talk about it. I can't believe a priest would even say such a thing.
Well, Jesus died for our sins, so we are allowed to sin every once in a while, as long as we repent.
But a priest.
And I am sure that even the priest will have his day where he may repent for his mistakes.
Well, if you think so, but if he starts one moment on his rants and starts asking me these weird questions again, I won't have it.
I will ensure that he does not even speak to you on the car ride over.
Oh, jeez.
Do you think he's
Good.
repented though? Because I've heard something about Catholicism, that something like you lose your priestly powers if you sin and you don't repent. Is that true?
Well, I know nothing about what it takes to be a priest, but what I do know is that it is best for us to stick together at this hour
Does
of
seem
crisis.
to be a good point. Yes.
Okay.
So, shall we go now? Can we go now?
Pack whatever you feel is necessary, and I suggest we leave immediately.
Yes. Someone has been following us from the hotel where we were both attacked to the hospital.
Can we go in the mansion at this hour? Does anyone know that?
I don't know that, but it doesn't matter to me.
Wait,
Yes.
would I know that though? Since I've spent late hours there, do they have like a guard or something?
Yes. Well.
So there is definitely people at the house. The staff.
Are they awake?
Mhm.
You
you could get
you
us
would wake
in
them.
there, though.
The problem is, you know that the Countess was very fond of you,
Yes.
but her daughter and her son-in-law, not so much.
Yeah.
So you're not entirely certain that you're going to get a good reception now that your
Yeah.
patron is dead.
Oh.
Yeah, they may not let us in at all.
I'm not sure we will be welcomed so warmly as the Countess welcomed us.
We will encounter that
But we will
at the
definitely
time
wake the
that
servants.
we arrive.
Yes, and I have heard a great deal about you, Mr. Gray, and I believe you have some skills regarding that might come in use.
Oh, perhaps. I hope so.
Like I
Oh
said,
yeah, here we go.
I suggest we make our way.
Let's
Okay.
meet up with the father.
Grab my little
So you've
powder
made
purse.
many circuits around the block.
Because there's no radio, I have to sing the Gregorian chants myself.
No one is sure what is more disturbing. The chanting or
There's still a dead body in the street.
You're pretty sure every once in a while, one of these keen-eared gawkers hears the chanting in the background and is thinking that maybe the angels have come for the soul of the dead.
Wow.
You're driving around the other block, so you're not on the side where all the action is going on.
you gotta mix it up. Yeah.
But you're pretty sure a couple of the kind of homeless drunkards are starting to notice that maybe this is the 9th or 10th time you've come by, and so
there's not much I can do.
Well, they're homeless drunkards.
there's also
what
not much they can
about
do. But at first they were maybe you were going to do something to them because maybe you were clearing the streets. But then after a couple times they're
Terrifying.
is he
Just a homeless guy, and you're like,
There, and then they're
God,
thinking,
it's
well,
Jack
he's
the
a
Ripper.
priest.
Is he going to
Is
do
he? Because if
He's
you were
been a
another
priest
type
the
of
whole
person,
time.
they would think, well, maybe he's trolling for the ladies of the night or something.
Whoa.
And then it's well, maybe you're there as part of that whole church thing where you try to help the homeless, but you just keep driving by, and
It's also in the middle of the night.
he's sanctifying.
Sorry.
You're mocking them with your I have a vehicle and you do not.
Every time they almost fall asleep,
Listen to my
that
vehicle
faint
chanting.
rumble in the car.
by the 10th or 11th time, it becomes this very awkward, they're looking and you're trying not to look, and then you look and they're trying not to look.
Okay, so we make our way down.
So by like almost like at maybe 19 or 20, you are relieved to see like a gang of people come out of the apartment building, and you see that they have brought the Lady Azel.
I
Your
walk.
arch nemesis.
I walk quickly. I walk quickly. I walk to the driver's door.
The homeless people are
And I
wide
knock
awake.
for him to roll the window down.
What is she doing?
You listen
here?
to me right now. She is going to get us into that mansion. She is not a witch. She is not a witch.
That is what a witch would say.
If she is a witch, we'll deal with it later. But right now, we have much more pressing
I just
matters.
feel like I wish you would.
Put the witch thing to the side. And do not engage in conversation with her.
I will not engage in conversation.
Okay?
Put the bell away.
Thank you.
We all hop in.
So
When she hops in, though, I silently hand over a pamphlet.
Jesus. What can Jesus do for you?
is it titled "So You Are a
Perils of
Witch"?
Hellfire.
So you're
Yeah,
thinking
it's-
about witchcraft.
It's one of those like one of
perils.
those little comics about witchcraft. It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah.
with little kids like playing
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, and, like,
Oh,
and then it ends with them going to hell.
Yeah, what are they called?
Chick tracks.
Chick tracks. That's
Yeah.
It.
I don't even pick it up. I don't even pretend that you're passing it to me. There's no way you can.
pick it
Oh,
up,
he
it
drops
burns-
it
I
on
like-
your lap.
It burned your skin.
I like grab it. I like pick it up, and I just start like looking. Oh,
Actually, kind of
very
entertaining.
interesting.
So here's the thing.
Playing I'm like sitting in the middle.
It's very uncomfortable in the back because
Yeah,
there's a
there's a
lot
lot.
of you there. So first of all,
Well,
who
there's
sits?
a space in the front, right?
Yeah. So who sits in the front?
I do.
Yeah,
All right.
you
He
should.
has to
You're
lead.
the father's
He,
friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
You're the one who
has
knows
to.
him
You're the only.
He has to keep an eye out.
Only friend.
To keep an eye on the father.
So the one thing is that if you sit in the front, your wife won't be able to sit next to you.
That's
no,
fine.
he sent her home. Or
Oh,
to
you
the
sent her
back of
home in the
hotel.
car. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why we were thinking that the needle
Oh,
was...
okay. So it's
I
just
wanted
the
to-
three
No,
of you.
check
well, no,
where the needle
actually,
was.
no. Technically,
She
I
said her-
didn't. No, because she came into the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you sent her
But the
in
car,
the car home.
No, I sent
No,
the
he
car
sent
home
the car
first.
home, not her.
I thought you
So
sent
I've
her
not.
in
I've not sent her away.
No, she's still there.
Oh.
It's okay.
She's been very quiet.
Wait. So are you telling
She's a
me?
dutiful French wife
She-
who is also filled
she
with
doesn't-
ennui.
Oh, so we all
She
have to
doesn't-
introduce ourselves. Are you Mrs. Lawrence? Alexander Franklin Jones.
Lawrence.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, sorry, no. What is Bertrand? What's
It's
Bertrand's
Guillot.
last name?
You.
Yes.
Bertrand and Guillot.
I cannot pronounce that.
Guillot.
My husband has spoken of you.
You, Bertrand's
Like the
wife.
first half
Very
of
nice to
Guillotine?
meet you.
By all means.
No. It's a
Say
French
hello
last name.
again.
Oh, yes. How are you, Lady Azel?
I am doing quite well, and yourself?
It's been a bit more interesting this evening than I had hoped.
And
Or if it
Very
were
exciting.
me, I
Would
be
you
back
like
in-
a smoke? Like an apple?
No, that is fine. I think I would take a quick nap if that is all right.
Oh,
I was sort of suddenly roused this evening, and it's been a little bit more exciting than I would have hoped. She
Yes,
looks a little
she-
accusing at you.
She was expecting the fire and she did not get
Well.
one. I cannot blame her for being upset.
This is true. This is true.
This
This is not.
Of all the possible ways that we've could be under attack, this is one of the more lackluster
People.
ways. So,
Well,
Terrible. 6 people.
Lack
even
of fire.
fit in the
lack of fire.
so
Insidious.
So hearing Azel say a comment, I'm not going to talk at her. I'm going to talk
Oh my
near
God.
her. Well, someone could sit in the trunk.
How many seats is this
I
car?
assume
Is it
Well-
like a church van?
No, it's a car. So there's like one person can sit comfortably next to the driver, and then the back seat is just one of these like bench seats, right?
Oh,
So-
yeah.
You guys-
and there's 6
So
of
it's like
You're
the
just
four of
gonna
you are
squeeze
packed
it.
in there.
There are
like
6 of them.
cheek
Oh,
to cheek.
okay, you guys can.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, sure.
You're not going to
Well-
put her in the trunk. She's not that disposable.
Your wife?
Not yet.
Right. Who will sit next to me? It could be.
No, you're driving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm up front.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
He's
driving.
the front.
He's next to you.
Oh, you.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
the
I'm
back.
Next to your wife.
Yeah. Bertrand is gonna sit
He
there.
has accepted that.
Oh.
Oh, Lady Azel can sit up for that person.
Yes.
Mm,
Give me this
Look at
very
the lady
awkward,
in the
like,
That'd
front.
be too awkward. I made it a point to, if I need to do anything, I'm
My
the
friend
I'm the
shall not
closest.
suffer a witch.
We'll have a dashboard confessional.
Ooh, ooh. Look at
Ooh,
that.
do I get to sit next to Mr. Gray
It's not really a
and
confessional when
Azel at the same time?
You
So
may.
exciting.
It's gonna be boy, boy, girl, girl. Because boy, girl, boy,
That
girl
was a
is
reference,
inappropriate at
Peter.
this time.
Yeah.
Was that?
Oh,
Yeah, it was a
okay.
reference.
Yeah.
So, the two things that are slightly important is of the boy, boy, girl, girl arrangement in the back, who are the ones that are by the glass window?
Ooh,
I am in the center because
I
I,
am
have
by
to
a
be
window.
between
You're by a window.
In
Azel
the
and
center.
All right, so
The
so your
priest.
wife is by a window and
Yeah, she
Arthur
is.
by a window.
Sure.
Sure.
All right,
All right, let's get this buggy driving.
all right. So you're driving off to the estate.
Oh,
to the estate.
Would you guys like
Somehow
to hear some Gregorian
feels like-
chants?
Fate's hand is upon us.
No,
Would you say?
We must be quiet. Don't want to be attracting any attention. Although I'm
So-
sure you've done that by circling the block.
What else was I to do? You wouldn't
You
let me
make a
just.
final circle. The two homeless guys are like,
now.
Now the
You
car
picked
is
up
like
those
full of
guys.
shapes, and they're
yeah,
people
it's like this whole
staring at us.
weird
Now
like
I have
bonfire
I have a
situation.
question for
Multiply.
we've
I
got
have
our
a
own
question
witch
for
circle
everyone.
going.
Is there
Yes.
anything else unusual from the party that any of us noticed? I only noticed the stuff from in the room, and Lady Azel, you did not join us in the room.
I did not. I did, however, notice a couple things down at the party while you guys were doing in your investigation upstairs.
There was stuff happening while we were in the room.
I noticed that one of the artifacts, the jars, had been missing. I tried to tell the staff about it, but they did not listen to me.
Oh.
They did not listen to you, like they could not be bothered.
They could
Or-
not be bothered. They did not care.
The staff did not care about an artifact being missing.
They didn't. They told me it was that the artifact wasn't missing when in fact it was. Because I distinctly remember there being 4 and there was only 3 jars.
It's very suspicious.
When we arrive, we must have our wits about us. For now I do not trust that they will tell us the full truth. But still, it's best for us to go there to gather information.
What time is it?
It
Time
is about
is it
4
now?
a.m.
Oh, jeez.
It is very, very much the middle of the night.
Was there a wavy blade like the assassin was carrying at the party? Among
Oh
the
yes,
artifacts?
those things are very commonplace amongst Egyptian artifacts. You see them all the
Okay.
time.
As
They're
I,
frequently used in rituals that are on full display. In fact, there are entire sets of them.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
as I said, it was a common cultist tool. Why would you use a boring real knife? You know, you got to use the curved ones. It's all
Those
about
little wavy curvy knives. Yeah, they're very commonplace.
it's all about atmosphere when you're performing a cultist ceremony.
Okay.
Like you can't just arrive in jeans. You need to be in robes. It's you have
Well-
to be. It's atmosphere.
So we're looking at cultists and/or witches.
Also, were you all in on the conversation where the weird statue of potpourri disappeared?
She was not.
I was
Okay.
not.
He wasn't.
So,
The weird satchel potpourri
But-
did escape me.
I feel like I need to fill her in. Because obviously there's so much that she wasn't a part of. So, Lady Azel, you were not in the room with us, yet you had the vision of the room.
Yes. All of the people that were in there originally were standing besides the police, of course.
I must let you know that while we were there were some weird things occurring. There was a satchel of potpourri. There was
Scrap of parchment.
a scrap of parchment, yes. And, of course, the altercation that occurred between you and Tristan.
Yeah.
But also, I noticed the chair was lined in gold. That seemed peculiar.
Is that peculiar?
It's peculiar to me
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering,
like, I
because
don't
you
think
know
it's
that
peculiar.
place a little bit better than me.
Oh, okay.
Would you
It's
know whether
always been
like I'm just kind of
Lined
recounting
in
like
gold.
like
Things that
like
you noticed,
things
yeah.
of the room And
Well-
since you weren't there to take a closer look, like maybe you'd be like, that's kind of weird.
It's fairly common for people to carry potpourri or have it around the house. What
It
was
was,
on
under.
the parchment? Why do you say parchment? There are books in the study. There's plenty of parchment and things there.
Well, I saw Tristan grab a scrap of parchment from one of the books. He immediately started touching all sorts of things when we were immediately
From the
told
books?
not to. He had picked up a book and it looked like he had taken a scrap of paper from the book.
How often did you ever enter that room?
That room in particular?
Fairly common.
Yeah.
The lady would talk to you there quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Yes, that was our main sitting and talking to each other, chatting with each other when we held tea parties.
When I said parchment, it was actually parchment. Like, you got a good enough look to know that it wasn't paper. Like, this
Yeah,
is
it was
like this is that
papyrus.
weird kind of like papyrus that you would see in an
And
Egyptian
it had
characters on
Egyptian
it.
characters
Right.
on it. Yes.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you just tore a page out of a book on the shelf.
No,
Okay.
but like I believe you said that it looked like he had taken it from the
It
book.
looked that way from what you could see. Like,
Yeah.
it looked like
Like,
he found
I
it in a
believe
book
that.
and he was like taking it out of there.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was someone had slid it into like.
Mhm.
Now, I do not know the Madame Philomena too well, but what kind of activities did she engage in throughout the city?
Throughout the city, she didn't go out much, I don't think. She had her one party a year to celebrate her husband's death, and she would call upon people regularly to converse with them and have a tea party, and she would ask me, we would come together and talk about her husband and call him and do seances quite regularly.
Now, I have a question, Miss Azel. Do you know whether she's had any position she liked to recline in that chair? The inspector said something very strange. He said there were marks on the floor suggesting that the chair had been moved.
The chair had been moved?
Yes.
Isn't
Did you notice that?
Well, she wasn't in the room.
I know.
Long
I
enough.
mean,
She was in
I
the
saw
room for
her
a
in the
short time.
chair, but I didn't notice that it had moved. It might have. Would I know where it's usually sitting?
Well,
Is it usually?
you know that in the rooms that are carpeted, almost
Really
nothing
do.
ever gets moved because basically
It looks
when you move
bad,
furniture and carpeting, it leaves
Doesn't
these
look
pivots.
good. Yeah.
And so, as far as you know, that chair has never been moved in all the time you've ever been there.
Yeah.
What- was
it
that her
shouldn't have
usual chair?
moved.
So the lady Philomena wouldn't have moved the chair herself.
Oh no! Oh no! I don't believe so.
You don't think she could have looked?
No, I don't think she. Yeah, she could have even tried to move it if she wanted to.
Now, when we arrive, who do you imagine we will be speaking to?
Probably one of the servants, and then the head house. But her daughter and her daughter's husband will most likely be there.
So you arrive at the gate of Herbert Manor.
Peter.
Yes. I didn't know that was you were
The
talking
car
to me.
stops
All right.
at the gate.
he was still.
He drives into the
Peter was still sulking from not being
Yes.
able to like.
No, in his mind, he's like thinking about all
He's
these
just like,
things that,
he
like, at
wants
any
to
moment he may have to like
interrogate
smoke
her.
out. It's like,
It's like,
Man.
well, just burn
Bell,
it right
Aren't we
now.
just going
the
to-
bell is
we're
put
gonna go
away,
ask
but it is within
for
arm's
drives-
reach.
so the gate is now closed, as opposed to when it's thrown open to invite people in.
I assume someone has some way of opening this door.
Yeah.
Someone?
Someone will have to leave the vehicle.
And get out and open the gate,
I'm,
which is a man's job.
I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get out
Right.
and open the gate. Yeah.
The gate is not locked because no one
Locks
locks
gates.
gates in
Okay.
this time day and age.
Yeah.
So you throw the slatch. It makes a loud clanking noise. You push the gate open.
You get back in the car, and then
There's now a
passenger-
roadway up past the fountains
Alright.
and the gardens to
And
the
that's
front
good.
of the manor.
And let's continue on.
Woo.
Boop-a-doop-boop.